Hello, and welcome to the podcast There Are No Good Games, where we discuss our opinions on past, present, and future games, as well as a whole load of other filler to keep us sane while we wait for a good game to play. Let's begin. Last time we spoke, we talked about like a game idea of like
We did.
vegetables, zombies, meats, chickens,
Cooking.
like all the good stuff.
We did.
I liked it.
Okay.
It had potential, it had gravitas to it. And I thought we could discuss, hear me out here, game jams off the back of it.
Okay.
Like, you know how like game jams have like themes and stuff like that?
That's true. I think that's how I actually came up with that's how I said last time. I think I brought up that like the concept of a game jam when I brought it up.
Yeah. And I thought what would be a good idea was like, I don't know, if we were to host our own There Are No Good Games game jam, what would your topic be? And what would you like to see?
Well, the topics are always a load of crap, usually. Usually there's some pedantic thing that someone's come up with to try and be clever, but it's actually not.
Okay.
So it's got to follow those rules, basically. So it's got to think it's clever, but it's really not. That's basically the starting point.
Well, like sound as a weapon, make a game of it.
No, that's too like descriptive, like
Trapped in another world, or death is useful.
No, that's none of this fits the bill. Really, it's got to give someone an existential crisis when they first hear it. That's like rule one of coming up with a game jam theme.
Okay.
So it's got to be like, it can't be an actual theme. Like the term theme is kind of stupid for game jams because it's not actually really a theme. It's more like well, it is a theme, but it's not really it's not a thematic of the game. It's like telling people to make a themed game on dungeon exploring. Like a dungeon exploring, that would be a theme. But in reality, it's something like, you are the enemy or something like that. And so like, it's so vague, but at the same time, it's like, so you gotta really think about what you would do. Like if you were the enemy, like you are the enemy.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It could be you trying to fight yourself. Like every time you move forward, the enemy moves forward towards you.
No, you are the enemy.
Okay. You could be like the villain building a dungeon for a hero to try and traverse through.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That works. Could be, you're the ghost in the ghost hunting game, basically.
Yeah, you're the prop and prop knight, or you're the hunter and prop knight, like that sort of game, right?
Yeah, but there's no other. But everything else has to be AI. Otherwise, you're not the enemy.
Yeah, you're the player.
Yeah. Well, yes, but you are the player. Yeah, but as the player, you're the enemy, right? That's why. Like you basically got to design a game where you're being what the AI would normally do in a video game.
Ah, okay. So like, because I'm looking at like notable games that were made off game jams, and like I'm looking at some of the titles. Some of the titles are okay. Some of them are like pretty bad. Like Hollow Knight. Can you guess Hollow Knight's theme for a game jam?
I mean, no. I don't think you could. I don't think you could name a game. I'd have to give you the theme. I don't think it's impossible because it could be anything. Because it's it could be literally anything.
Celeste.
No, no, I don't know what these themes would have been.
Okay,
no.
That's fine.
I don't think that's like, it could be anything, any game, because of the thing is that people don't always follow the theme anyway properly, or they like it follows the theme so good that it doesn't even you don't even think about the theme in the first place. Basically,
okay,
it's just the game is good. So. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you gave me a collection of Ludum Dare games, I think maybe if you played tons of them, you'd get the theme. But I don't think if you played one, you'd ever get the theme for just playing one game.
You think? Or
no, I just generally don't think it's possible.
Okay.
Unless it literally was either named after the theme, or it's so literally completely but you know, like these game jam games, you play that most of them you play and they last about 5 minutes, basically tops, really. So in 5 minutes, it's probably like it's gonna be little. Like it's not gonna be a huge amount of gameplay, so it's probably more focused. But if it's like a full scale game, it'd be quite difficult to know.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But yeah, I think game jam themes, they're just they a lot of them try to be too smart for what they are, and instead of just like keeping it fairly simple, so I don't know, something like you know, you are the key, right? Like that one, it kind of probably hits the nail on the head for what a game jam theme normally is, because what does, you know, what do you mean by key? Like, is it, you know, like most of it is that you're like, I don't know, you are part of the opening, or what if you are a key and you gotta like go in the dungeon and find the explorer who requires you for the door. Like people just come up with random stuff around that.
Okay.
But maybe again, like maybe you are the key again is too focused. I don't know. It's so hard to come up with a good game jam theme, in my opinion, because there's always problems with it in some way.
But how do you mean though? Because like I think there's a difference between there are issues of game jam themes and there's issues of like the time constraints around game jam themes.
No, it's not the game jam. It's not the time constraints. It's just like it's not about the time, because it's the same for everything. Like I could give you like I want a I don't know, if I just said I want a you know, spy game, right? That was the theme, spy, right? That's like so simplistic that like it could be a lot of different things, but most likely someone's going to create some sort of like, you know, first person shooter going through a level. Like that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
But the problem with that is you've got to create a theme that doesn't like necessarily focus on one particular genre either. Like you can't just come up with a theme that's so like that people are just instantly going to do an FPS game for. You want to make it so there's a variety of different things for different skill sets, because people either, you know, won't be using a 3D engine, so you know, doing first-person shooters, and how the question, they could do a top-down 2D shooter, right? So start with, you want to make sure the graphics are all okay for people to use different like skill sets to create graphics. But then also people like to want to make like a small puzzle game. You know, it's not about the genre, as we talked about last time. Like you want to open it up to loads of different particular things. It's more like a kind of guideline than a genre or a actual theme. Really, it's a guideline to go off on your design.
Okay, so you'd use it as like a springboard, or would you say it's too much?
I mean, again, it just depends on the theme. No, I don't. I like. It's just like the themes are stupid. That's what the context is here. Themes are stupid because they're never. No one. No, I think there's always problems with them. Yes, they're voted on, and yeah, the time constraint's got nothing to do with it, because the theme could be anything, and you still have the same amount of time, so it doesn't really make much difference. But it just needs to not be so. It doesn't basically. What makes a good theme is something that multiple people can create different games out of, and yeah, so people can interpret it slightly differently, but not too much. So that's obviously the first constraint that makes it slightly difficult. And the second thing is, yeah, it can't be like too simplistic in like the like one word ones. I don't like one word.
If you're and let's just kind of take this as me being the Ludum Dare or Game Jam person. If I was to give you two different themes, like TikTok could be a theme. Is that too general in your opinion?
TikTok, well, yeah, I guess, but then the thing is, the problem with that one is TikTok. Like, let's be honest, it's just based around time.
Yeah, or you're running.
Yeah, so why don't you just say time? Well, there we go. So instead of what you've done there is you've tried to be smart by you and TikTok. Can you be like, oh, this is going to make people think, when actually in reality it just is just going to be time.
Okay.
But then again, what game, you know, Race Against Time would be a theme. The better one would be Race Against Time.
Okay.
Because it's not like it's open to interpretation about what type of game you make. Because you could make a puzzle game there that you've got limited time to, like an escape room game. You could make an FPS game where you've got to defuse the bomb at the end of the level. There's a racing game, like that one is open to loads of different interpretation.
Yeah.
And you haven't created some sort of like meaningless where they spend an hour of their 48 hours or 72 hours thinking about what does the theme actually mean when it's actually very straightforward.
Do you think most of the people who actually do game jams kind of cheat it to a degree? Like they've already got a game in mind, but they're just trying to ram it into like a theme or a thesis, if that makes sense.
I mean, it's possible, but then again, that's why the theme's important, because if the theme is too loose, then that can happen. And then that's the thing, like the theme should prevent that.
Okay, so what would you advise as a theme on the spot then?
A race against time.
Race against time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that could be like a racing game where you're literally running away from stuff, or it could be trying to get to the point before it runs out of time, or...
I'll be honest, like one of the best ones I ever saw, which going back on it was only one word, but at least it kind of was, at least it was just Escape.
Escape.
It was just called Escape, yeah, that was the thing.
And what made it good in your opinion then?
Because it means people could have made loads of different games of it. It was very easy to understand, and there's no like entry barrier. One of the worst things about game jams is to create some sort of like pointless entry barrier to people who've never done one before, and obviously making the theme like just overly complex and difficult for absolutely no reason means there's an entry, like just creates an entry barrier for new people. So it's got to be open basically for that.
So you'd have like an open like plan sort of idea, if that makes sense. Like you said, like escape or whatever it was, because it's like you could be shooting to escape, you could be like planning your escape, you can do like a bunch of different stuff, but you've got like the key word there that has lots of different alternatives and use cases.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could just literally make a game. It's a black screen, does nothing, and to win they have to press the escape button. That's the game.
But isn't that more of like an instruction then?
I mean, you can take the theme how you want though, right? That's the point. But like, that's what I mean. The game could be as simple as a black screen and they just have to press escape to win. It could just literally, or you literally just have random, like, so it could be more of an experience, right, than a game. Like, it doesn't have to be an experience is a game, walking simulators, am I right? But, literally, they get into the game and it just shows them random questions and they have to give a yes or no answer to all these random questions, right? And it just loops and loops and loops. And the only way to win is to press escape.
Okay, I like it.
Now, is that going to be the best game out of the lot? Is that going to win? Probably not. Absolutely not.
I hope no.
But it means someone thought it through. Someone, would have come up with this experience and thought, do you know what? It's about making people think that they've got all these questions in life and they can keep answering the questions, but they could just escape and avoid the questions and they don't have to answer them anymore.
You could escape Tarkov. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or someone just makes like a mini, 2D top-down Tarkov single-player thing. And that's fine. And if they have the time to do that, they have the time to do that. But obviously the time constraint puts a lot of limitations already. So let's not add more pointless limitations to it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Okay. And then so I know we've done one in the past, and I can't remember, it was like Unstable, I think was the theme.
Yeah.
How do you think the marking's done, or do you think it's just pure popularity though? Still on the idea of game jams then?
I've done quite a lot now. I would say that the person who pushes their one the most gets the most votes, and generally those ones win. Now, it can't be a load of rubbish still, but the thing is, like, people can take part, but the 72 hours you spend making the game is actually really irrelevant. It's the next 20 days, whatever, after that, where you've got to get people to play your game to then rate it. And usually what happens on like Ludum Dare is that the more games you rate, the higher like your game is then pushed to people. So it's basically encouraging people to play the game. Now, is that actually fair? No, it's not actually, because you've already spent the time making a game and it creates like an arbitrary, like someone who has loads of time to just go through and rate games. They might not even play the games. They could just go on and rate them, to be honest with you. I don't even know what it checks, but it just creates like, it's not a fair system because it is more popularity, because it's like an algorithm. You just won the algorithm by just playing more people's games, by having more time. So
yeah,
in my opinion, but it's not it's not about getting first. Like, that doesn't really matter actually, because there's just usually so many games. Like, to consider winning like Ludum Dare, you just get top 100. That's the aim. So it kind of balances out. Like, if you get top 100, then you're considered a winner. So that's fine.
Have there been any like good news stories, or like people who've done like really well, and then someone's like, "Oh, you should definitely get this published"? Or
most games that get in the top 100, think about that. I mean, there's quite a few that do get made into full games. You hear about them all the time.
Yeah, because I saw that Keep Talking and No One Explodes was a Ludum Dare game.
Yeah, there's games like that just I mean that's why companies do game jams as well, because they want to come up with new ideas, and it's the time pressure, the fun of it. You get the best out of a developer, so why not try it and do it? But
yeah,
it does happen often. It does happen often for sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. But that's not really the problem these days. I mean, obviously, pushing people to make their own games is all well and good and does happen. But now we're in an era where AI can create their own video, where people are using AI to create the video game. That's going to be more of the problem in these game jams, is that do you allow AI-related content? Because Steam don't allow it anymore. Well, Steam have banned tons of games recently.
Oh, really?
It's all copyright. You can't, like, using all AI art and AI voices, for example. It's all unless you own the previous copyright use of, which, if it's a voice, sure, you've pre-recorded a voice or bought a voice package that you then have the license for to then use for AI. Sure, great. But a lot of like AI art, like just today in the last 24 hours of recording, there's been a storm on the internet about AI art, fan art in particular. Is that, do you think it's acceptable to sell fan art in general?
Define fan art, because I'm like, I just want to make sure.
Art based off a game or a movie.
I mean,
if we made some and tried to sell that, do you think that's okay?
I think it depends, like the usage, right? Like if it's like you're doing it as a commission for someone, sure. If you're selling it as art pieces online, different.
No, they're both wrong.
Okay.
They're both wrong. They're both the same thing in reality, aren't they not? You're still selling art that technically is based off an IP you don't own. Well, no, it's not. It's true, because these companies have their copyright. If I drew Tracer, right? I've drawn Tracer here, okay, on a bit of paper, and now I'm selling it online because it looks really good. Okay, now who owns Tracer?
Blizzard. Activision.
Right. So Activision Blizzard. So did I have the rights to make art of Tracer?
No, but that's always been like the lovely grey area, because it's like fair use.
It's not a grey area. On Blizzard, no, it's not fair use. It's not fair use.
Is
because
it not
Blizzard,
fair use?
No, all these companies, they literally say in their terms and conditions, you can't sell their fan art. You can make fan art and you put up online, but you can't sell it. You can't commercially. There's no grey area. There's literally copyright law. You can't commercially use someone else's IP.
Okay. I thought there was. What's the whole point of having fair use rights then?
No, fair use is like using Tracer in another form of like review. Let's say if I'm reviewing Overwatch, okay, I can have a picture of Tracer here,
yes,
right? But you're saying fair use, as in like, okay, I'm gonna make a YouTube video, and I'm gonna record myself drawing Tracer. Now this is where it gets good, because is that legal or not?
It's legal because I'm tracing Tracer.
No, and now I put ads on my video. Is it legal?
I guess it kind of sits where the content is, right? If the content's all about how to draw the perfect Tracer, maybe. If it's just me talking and putting Tracer in the back to kind of bring views across, then no.
Commercial rights. I think if you put ads on a video of you drawing Tracer, I think it's not you can't do that.
Yeah, but you also got people who use like Wilhelm screams in their videos. That's technically not legal.
Isn't it? Well, that's true, but isn't that like that's a licensed sound? So someone could have licensed it to put in their video, right?
I don't think so. No, it's just...
Well, people put it in films. Like movie directors must pay a license fee to someone who owns the Wilhelm scream. If you looked up who owns Wilhelm scream, there's more likely it's going to tell you, unless it's been put into, into open use. But someone whoever owned the copyright first would have had to declare that first.
Yeah, it's not. It's Warner Brothers Sound Libraries.
Okay, so if someone went to the Warner Bros. Sound Library, and they paid the license fee, they can use it.
Yeah, or anyone who's part of the Warner Bros. Company can use the Wilhelm scream as part of it. Yeah.
Right. So there we go. So, but that's the same. Is that unless you are literally Blizzard, you can't use Tracer in your thing. But that's not to say you can't like show off Tracer. If you did a drawing of Tracer and showed it off, right? Technically, but you didn't make money off it, that's absolutely fine. Yeah,
but that's also like. I'm gonna be controversial here. So, I'm playing Overwatch, and I'm streaming it online, and I'm making money off it.
Okay, that's fine. That's because fine. You haven't you're not recreating anything, are you? It's fair use because you're adding. As long as you're like effectively talking over the video, and it's just like as long as it's like not just pure gameplay, right? Technically it's fair use because you've added something to what is the original piece, right? But you making if you remade Overwatch in Unreal Engine, okay, and you were trying to sell the level, like you made, what's the London one? Oh. No, I was going to say one of the levels. If you remade one of the levels in Unity. Kings Road, right. So you made Kings Road, and you then wanted to sell it on the asset store, that would not be allowed. Even though you remade all of it in Blender yourself, okay, and did all the texturing, wouldn't be able to do it. Because
I get that because
Kings Row.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But that's the same. But that is exactly the same as drawing a picture and trying to sell it. So there we go. But anyway, back to this, is that we haven't even got to the crux of the story, is that at Comic-Con, I don't know if it is the one in America or somewhere else basically, but Comic-Con, they kicked out. So there's obviously all these tables at Comic-Con of artists and them selling their fan art, right? So this is where the controversy comes from. But there was one person there who had a table set up who was selling AI generated fan art. Okay. And they've been kicked out.
Okay.
And there's been kind of this controversy is being created because, firstly, one person. So out of all the people, all of them are breaking the law. It doesn't matter if this one person was using AI, because the reason Comic-Con's given is that this person's breaking copyright law because they're using AI that, basically some people are in the area that any AI art you generate, you own completely, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there isn't really a case at the moment to prevent. No one has yet to win a legal case against this belief, right? But that is in itself a grey area of like, well, who's this AI that's been trained on stuff? Technically, the AI owns it, I guess. But then I could go out into the open world, look at loads of stuff, come home, and then do a drawing that creates something new, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's technically the same as like an AI who's learned loads of things and then trying to put it together. As long as the AI doesn't completely replicate something that's so similar to what it's seen, then technically it's a new piece of work. So technically it's a new ownership, a new it's a new copyright that's been layered over it. But then, what's happening now is that they've used AI to generate fan art. So obviously the AI has learned off the real thing. Yeah. Either other fan art, firstly, yes, or it's learned off, actual, let's just go with the Tracer story for now. Okay. I don't think it's got nothing to do with Tracer, but it's a good example here is that, it's either gone off original artwork from Blizzard of Tracer, or it's gone off other fan work or recreations of Tracer. But they've kicked out that person who was selling their work, but none of the other people who are still technically breaking copyright law. So it's created this controversy. because it is, people are shouting out about like where it's unfair. But the worst is people who just sitting on the fence. Well, not sorry, they've made their stand, which is all of it is fine, which is not. That's like the complete wrong route to take. It's like critical thinking to actually imagine that none of, once you kind of realize someone owns the rights to this figure, right? Then obviously you need to think carefully about how you use that that IP basically.
Yeah.
So but this all comes down to, AI generating stuff, and, is AI, if I started using AI to put into my video game, what does that mean? I think the closest thing that actually is fine is the new Photoshop fill. What's it called? Something fill, where it basically creates a new thing around it. Yeah, it extends what you've already put in. Now that is good use of AI. That's like, yeah, because it's using the original piece you've put in to extend it in, right?
But you can also use someone else's work and extend it, right?
Right, but that's not inherently bad of the AI, though, is it? The AI wasn't trained. Well, it was trained on loads of things, but that's irrelevant to this because it's not using this other trained material to be put straight in. It's using what I give it. So, yes, obviously, if I put in a piece of work I don't understand, it starts extending it, then yes, obviously in some way that is wrong. But if I take a picture of my garden and I remove bits from it, and I tell it to extend the garden to the left and right, and I have a bigger garden picture, great. That's completely done exactly what it wanted it to do.
But then it's completely false, right? It's not like your picture anymore. It's like
But it is my picture. No, because there's a difference between AI generating it from the whole image from scratch and it adding piece to it. So a good example, which I've seen, is that a picture of a lake, okay?
Yep.
And then you take out certain areas, right? And you say fill in with swans, and then swans are filled in on the lake, right?
Okay.
And that's like adding things or removing people from the picture. Another great use of that AI. Like it's not stealing anything. It's just removing the thing. Yes, you're changing, I guess, the original photo, but that is the entire point of it, right? But what someone's done recently, so there's a guy on Twitter who's basically making a game using only AI related stuff. That's his challenge. Now, I don't know where he's planned to sell it. It probably is. He's probably got a Kickstarter or whatever, but it is whatever. But what he's done is he's used Midjourney to generate some stuff, and he's then basically like removed parts of it and got like the Photoshop fill stuff to do other things, and then he's kind of modeled it and used that Midjourney thing to texture his world basically. So everything he does, so his characters are all AI generated, the landscapes are all AI generated, then he's kind of put Blender on it. Some 3D models are generated, sound, I don't know what the sounds he's doing, but I'm sure music you can now generate as well, so it's all very possible. Yeah. But he's posted recently on Twitter as being like, well, I'm not really sure how this is going to go, because if Steam's removed all these games that are using AI, then his thing's got no chance of being commercially usable either.
Yeah.
But what it seems is what Steam's done is they've just deleted stuff off the store that's basically low caliber AI generated stuff. Like there's a classic type of game on Steam, which is like the puzzle game, which is like you move the bits of the picture around. There's a name for it. I don't know what it's called.
And you try and get like the girl thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's what most of them are. Yeah, it's some hentai background, and then they're trying to like fill it into the slots. That's what most of them on Steam are. They're not actually like I don't know who buys this crap, but it's there. But yeah, I think they've just removed that, because what someone's done is they've programmed something and then they've just filled in all this AI generated art to be the pictures you're moving around the squares, the little square things around the puzzle. I think that's what most of them are.
So, but in what instances is AI good then? Because like for me, someone who wants to try and make games and stuff like that, is it not good? I can ask AI to try and help me try and create some scripting, or is that bad? I do that then?
Well, who wrote? Well, the thing is, that's all stolen code. I'll be like, it's all all that stuff is just learnt off another one. So that's technically bad. In theory.
That's bad AI.
Well, again, you just got to think about it. It's not really about like all AI is bad because it's all trained, right? That's not really, because the real case is that all these places have trained their AI off other people's work without their permission. That is just the general reality of it. Now, if you can find something that's an AI that's been trained of only original licensed stuff, then we're getting somewhere. So NVIDIA, for example, they use like all the Getty Images stuff, but they literally have requested, permission for all their stuff. So a lot of NVIDIA stuff they're doing is completely on board. They're very like ethical in how they do it. And they were one of the first people to show off the kind of remove people from photos. You kind of hover over and it fills
like the
in.
Apple.
They showed it all first.
Google Pixel phone. I can't remember. Yeah, but yeah, carry on. Sorry.
But yeah, so they've done everything first. They have great videos. They're kind of like NVIDIA labs. They do loads of it. They've done AI stuff for a long time. And obviously now, like, Adobe have taken it on, and they're now the big user of this kind of tech. But
because they're using
someone else will come by.
aren't they?
Yeah, they use it for photo editing, but that's the thing. But they just showed what NVIDIA was showing, which was just like, you marquee around an area, it deletes it, and then you can ask it what to fill it with.
Yeah.
So either remove this person if you've marqueed around them, or, fill in this area of the lake with swans, and it'll put a swan there. But then, all this stuff, like, hopefully, when it gets, eventually we need laws around AI, and we just don't.
Yeah.
It's always the case where technology lags behind what is law.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that will be resolved, but it probably will be quite a while away. But the worst case scenario is that they just say anything generated AI is not owned by you. Well, because then even if you've licensed an AI that was trained ethically, then then you can no longer do that, right?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Because I've seen they've done like AI stuff where it's like you can get videos to be AI cut. So
yes.
you tell your like I don't know, Photoshop or Premiere, hey, I'm making a how-to tutorial. They'll cut everything in the how-to way and then kind of send it back to you. But
yeah,
I guess I don't know. Is that bad or is that good? Because holistically, I'm like, oh, it's not great. But at the same time, if you're good at your craft, you can kind of balance it out. But I guess for introduction people, you're not learning stuff. You're just instead trying to cheat your way through it. Does that make sense?
The example I've seen is where someone had loads of clips of videos and they put a music track in and they asked it to basically cut the videos to the BPM.
Yeah.
And that's like, obviously if you do that by hand, that would take hours. But it did it in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, but shouldn't you try and do that in order to make yourself better? And well, I guess it's
what's that got to do with anything? Why would you work hard instead of working smart?
Yeah, but you could just say that. I get what you're saying.
I mean, it's not like okay, if it was like a university coursework where they literally said, here's some clips, you need to put it to the BPM, okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you handed in something that was done by AI, that's probably ethically bad, okay? It's the same as like asking AI to write your essay about Of Mice and Men for you, okay? It's pretty much the same. It's probably the same thing, okay? But, if at the end of the day it's about using the tools, that's what your coursework is about, then why on earth would you not use this built-in tool into your editor, which you're meant to be using, that does it for you?
Well, because you're not really learning. I guess you're right. It depends on the learning objective, right?
Are you at university to either learn or to get your piece of paper at the end of it?
I think it depends, right? It depends what course you're trying to do, and it depends what you are trying to do holistically. Because if I'm going to university to go learn how to do filmmaking or computer science or game dev, the last thing I want to be doing is cheating my way through. Because eventually when I get into a job, they'll be like, we don't have this available. You're going to have to do it by hand. You're going to look like an idiot. Right?
Yeah, but it's not hard. Yeah, but I probably gave the worst example because it's not exactly hard to cut stuff in line with a BPM. No, unless you are literally have no idea what a BPM is, I guess.
Sorry, what I mean is holistically, it's from like an art standpoint. Like the AI can do it, but it'll be choppy and not perfect. And then you have to go away and tidy yourself. Fine. But you're not learning anything. You're just kind of cheating your way through it.
Well, I guess, but the problem is, like, what you've learned in that situation is not to do it by hand because that's slow, and you should use the tools ahead of you. Like, surely, like, it's why, like, they don't, there's tons of stuff we don't teach anymore in schools because, it's unnecessary because it has been replaced by a superior technology to do it. Now, the thing about that is that look at maths in schools where we're still, we enforce doing papers without a calculator, right? And that is, even though, I'm pretty sure I had a teacher who said, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket. Well, yes, you do now. So like I think it's kind of like, well, when does time run out for the non-calculator papers, I guess, in schools? But then you're right. Then what do you learn? Like, as in, like, if I can't go into a shop and literally add up, like, if I go in with £5 and I need to buy some food with my £5, imagine how long it would actually take me longer to walk around, enter all the numbers into my calculator, realize I've made a mistake, go back, minus it, restart the calculation again on my phone.
Yeah.
That would probably take longer than just being able to go around and in my head just keep track of adding up simple maths, basically.
Yeah.
So there's obviously a limit to it. But then if I had to start doing long division in the shop, I think I'd be like, well, this is a waste of time. Like, I might as well use my phone.
Well, I completely agree. So I think there's a learning objective conversation. And there's also at what point do we start developing conversation, right? Because if you use AI, if you're teaching AI how to do stuff, there might be an eventual, and this is a hypothetical stop where it doesn't know what to do anymore because it's got past what's been taught so far, or in terms of learning itself. And I might be wrong here by saying this, but if we do it ourselves, we're still able to like learn, adapt, and kind of teach new things going forward because we're always still thinking, we're still adapting. Like the human mind is pretty malleable and pretty well thought out. But if we rely on AI too heavily to do stuff, so like game making, you'll never actually develop anything new. You never actually make anything new because you'll be stuck with the same tools for different puzzles and different different pieces of work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I mean, like, AI is not like super smart still. I mean, it can do smart stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's already being used in the world incorrectly and poorly, right? To a point. Because this all comes down to AI, which is something that I wanted to bring up, which was something that came up 5 days ago. Okay. Now I still browse the World of Warcraft like subreddit and I see stuff. Okay. I still keep track of. I haven't played World for a long time. Are you I hope you've seen this, which is Glorbo. Okay.
Oh, hell, Glorbo.
Yeah, which is something that basically proves a massive point, is that loads of these news sites are now using AI to generate their articles, because for those who don't know, not in the know, effectively what someone did on Reddit is that they made a post and they just titled the post, "I'm so excited they finally introduced Glorbo," and then they basically like started making up some random bits about this, whatever Glorbo is, and they even put in their post on Reddit, "Honestly, this new feature makes me so happy. I really want some major bot operating news websites to publish an article about this," right? Now, they even put that in there, and the AI, the news site that was using AI, picked this up and literally quoted that exact sentence in explaining how excited this guy was for Glorbo, which is a made-up thing.
I mean, I think he is allowed to be happy because they did start hinting about it back in like Hearthstone in 1994, though.
Yes, yeah. So they just... They just made the whole thing up, and an AI site had tried to create a whole article out of it. I mean, this now has made international news. It's on BBC. So it's now, this kind of concept of like AI. This guy basically created a huge conversation about how people are using AI now to generate, journalism. Is journalism going to be a dead career soon? Because we'll just have AI bots running to pick up on all the news stories wherever they are. Like,
I think it depends. So, and this is where I go into the use case thing, right? So, yes, for like quick little news snippets, perfectly makes sense to use AI. But if you want more in-depth, high-quality journalism and like interviews and kind of like forming opinions, thoughts, and ideas, I don't think AI will be able to do that for the conceivable future, right?
Yeah, but there's people out there who are like, who are literally like, no, I'm only going to read AI news sites, right? There are people out there who will say that because they're incompetent, but generally because they're like, they just love, there's loads of these types of people where they just like love technology and they will just like, they're just always, it's like like they would have bought NFTs, they would have bought, they will have cryptocurrency, they will have all this stuff, and they'll be like, no, I'm only reading from AI news sites as well. And it's just like, I don't know, it's a mental illness to be so attached to the next latest technology and just all you care about in life. But that's what people will do. Even though you're right, like, why would you read this rubbish that's created by a bot that doesn't know what it's talking about? But that's the thing. Like, AI should not create something in its entirety. No. It should not be creating an entire piece of artwork and then you declare that as your own, right? But can it be used to help generate bits of your artwork, that you've created? Absolutely. If I've drawn something, can I get it to run through AI to make it better and remove, if I've drawn it by hand, maybe remove some of the markings around it to clean it up? Absolutely. If I was writing a news article, can I start writing it and then ask AI to start, adding in quotes from around the web? Absolutely. Yeah. Like, that's the type of stuff that it should be used for.
Well, like assistance rather than like creating.
Absolutely. AI assistance is where the real technology and focus should be. Generating things from scratch is just only going to fail, like, for a long time. We're nowhere near getting, we're nowhere near having AI actually write decent code, especially since it's all stolen. It's all taken from tutorials or snippets from other people online. So some of it's just incoherent messes because it's just all taken from different things. Same with like, when you ask it to you could ask ChatGPT to write you a short story. It's probably not going to be very good. Like, it probably wouldn't even pass a C grade at GCSE, most of the stuff.
Yeah.
So, but people have now glorified AI so much that they believe it's better than, what is actually the human mind. And it's not. Yeah, we're nowhere near that, and we won't be there for a long time.
Yeah, agreed.
But that's how the world works now.
What? I think, I don't know. I stay in the mindset of like, I think AI is making people lazy at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, but it makes them lazy and bad, right? Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with using AI if it's like for assistance, right? Like, you can say it's being lazy, but people are only lazy if they use it in its entirety. If they're using it to help them work better and faster and smarter, and they can get more work done well, then that's a good use of time. That's not laziness. That's actually intelligence. But in reality, people aren't. They just think, AI is the best thing in the world. I trust it. So everyone else must as well, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just, it is interesting just seeing what's happening though, because I think a lot of people are terrified of AI, but I don't, like you said, it's not going to be out for a while until it gets really scary. But there's still going to be people, like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to be out of work. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have that. But there's still going to be people to like, it's a weird one. Like, it's going to create more jobs than I think it will take away holistically. And there will be other jobs that will come into play in order to support it and move it forward, if that makes any sense.
If AI was able to take over a whole job, right? A whole job, like you generally needed no user assisted like input or anything like that, then that's probably coming at some stage to a lot of things. And actually, people need to get over that. That's like the way the thing's going to work, right?
Well, look at computers and stuff, right? Computers are taking over loads of jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Like manufacturing, for example. We're not making things by hand anymore. But and everyone's accepted that, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, AI is going to make things better for people. We can detect illnesses now. With AI. We making the world so much. Does that mean doctors? We need less doctors. Well, we hardly have any doctors anyway. So it's not going to replace doctors right now. People still want to go to the doctors. They still need to be doctors to understand what's going on. AI is never going to be able to be. There's never going to be. I believe this. There's never going in the next 100 years. There's not going to be an AI that's going to replace like a whole lawyer, like actual like lab technician kind of people, doctors. There's going to be none of that. Those big jobs that actually change the world.
Yep.
Lawyers don't change the world, but whatever, they require intelligence in some way. But those big jobs that are kind of like, let's call them the Sims headline career jobs, right? Those jobs are never going to be replaced. And let's be honest, you're not going to replace gardening with AI, okay? So why not just become a gardener? So if you lose your job to AI, go touch some grass. That's what I'll say.
No, but I mean, like, more holistically, there's always going to need to be like the softer skills versus like the hard skills. So like, for instance, like accounting and like really hard data driven stuff is always going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of do as a person versus if you train a program to do it, right? Because you got like QuickBooks, you got all that sort of stuff. But if you need someone to kind of explain your idea, explain your purpose, and request funding, you still need that as a holistic thing. But it like you said, it's a tool to be used at the right time. It's not going to steal stuff. You're still going to need people to like manage things to go forward. Like if you need to like, I don't know, even if we do get to the future of like AI creating video games, right? We sit there and let's say we don't need coders because AI is so good it can now code things. You're still going to need people to try and put it together, review it, make sure it makes sense, debug it, because the AI will think, oh, it's fine, it's working as it should be, let's just carry on. You're going to need people to tell stories, you're going to need people to put it all together, wrap it up, and then convince everyone that it's a great idea to buy. But there will also be more jobs of managing the AI, feeding it the right data sets, feeding it the right prompts and stuff like that to build what you want, right?
Well, AI can't create new ideas, right? That's just, that's just the general summary of what we've been talking about, is that it's always someone else's idea is taken and compiled to. So if you're making something new, you can't use AI to make it, right? But you can use it to make your life easier.
Yeah.
There are bits, GitHub do have an AI that you can pay £10 a month for, $10 a month for, to effectively give you snippets of code or suggestions to code as you write it, right? But that's not writing you an entire program. AI won't be able to do that for a long time, if ever, really, because it just would never understand fully the logistics of putting something that you actually want from start to finish. If I want a hello world program in a language, great. It already knows how to do that because it's already seen every single one and it can just give it to me straight up. It won't be different every time I ask it. It'll be the same thing.
Yeah.
But if I'm asking for like code suggestions, or I'm asking for it to find a bug in my code that a normal compiler can't, then that's maybe much better. Those are tools that will work and that should be focused on because they actually will do something helpful for people. But I think the longer we spend trying to completely replace something with AI instead of just enhancing it with AI, the longer it will take, basically. That's the problem. Yeah. And it's just a waste of time. Most of the time, they just seem like a waste of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
AI good to a degree. It's a good side dish, but it's not as a good main. There you go.
Everything's bad until you use it for good. So.
Yeah. What was that? Everything's good in moderation, including moderation?
Well, yes, but I don't think everything is necessarily good. I think that's murder's not good.
Oh.
Even in moderation.
In moderation, it's okay.
I don't think so.
I mean, you're murdering animals, so...
For food, yeah. But then that doesn't make it good then. No, it doesn't make it okay, does it, though?
Or does it?
I don't know. I mean, I'll eat it, but I'm not saying, people will always find an issue with that stuff.
True. No, that's fair. So I've got a hot topic for you then.
Okay.
So we're talking about how it's bad to copy games, commercial rights and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What is your view then on the Simpsons Hit and Run remake?
Well, I've been watching that for it must be over a year now. The guy's been making it. I watched all the episodes when every time it comes out.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. He's not doing it commercially. Now, well, is he doing it commercially? What he's not allowed to release the game commercially, obviously. Has he made money off making it? Yes. But then again, this comes down to, I guess in some way, can you then, we're still in the era where you can recreate something but showing people how you've done it, right? So this is like back to like, can you have a video of you speed drawing Tracer and have it on YouTube and make money off the ads?
Yeah.
At the moment, the answer is yes. Whether or not it is morally right is irrelevant, but the answer is currently yes. So this guy basically has done that, and he's not just making money off his advertisements. Since day one, all he talks about every single episode is how he's using his tools that he does sell on the asset store.
Yep.
No, Unreal Asset Store to do it. And like that's completely separate to the game, but obviously he's using it to make the game. But that's the Simpsons don't own Fox, Disney don't own his thing, so he can do what he wants. I mean, the thing is, I guess in some way is, funny enough, he did use AI to upscale some stuff originally, but then that was all scrapped, and someone else remade everything from scratch as well, like all the cars, the NPCs, the world obviously was remade with all the models. So, in the end of the day, like obviously he can't release it because he doesn't own any of the sound files either, which he definitely is using.
Yeah.
That's the thing. In fact, that is possibly the main moral issue with his video is he uses copyright sound in his game. That's not It's not a recreation. It's literally the exact voice from the game ripped out. And so that's probably key. That like if there was a reason why those videos got taken down, and I was trying to find a reason, that would be the easiest one to go down. But
because the actors haven't given their consent for the voice.
It's not the actors; it's the recordings from the original game. So it's not the actors. The actors have already given their license, their copyright right to whoever made the game. But so effectively, nothing's going to happen to the guy because he's not making actual money off the actual license itself from selling the license away. But that's fine. I mean, people do that all the time. There's so many videos on YouTube of people recreating stuff in Unreal and Unity and, their own speed art of whatever this and this. And, that's fine at the moment. No one really has a problem. But that's the thing. That's where it comes down to making fan art than selling your fan art. And that's obviously where the line is at the moment. And if the goalposts move, it will be in the direction of not being able to sell any, not being able to make fan art than suddenly allowing fan art to be sold, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, that game's been going on for a while. I think it's taken at least 3 to 4 people in total. I think Reubs is the main guy. He's obviously done most of the code, but he has a few people who've done art. I think one of the artists has most of his stuff scrapped by this other new artist who does other stuff. But at the end of the day, they've recreated it all. They've redone the texturing. So yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's impressive, but it's taken him a year. And he did do some pretty, he merged all the maps together and stuff like this, which is all good. I think that's fine. I think that, again, comes down to, can you YouTube yourself making something? Yes, the answer is if you can YouTube yourself playing a game, then you should be able to YouTube yourself recreating it in your own way. Because that is fair use in its way, is that you're adding something to the original concept. Your commentary is trying to recreate it and showing it's possible.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a teaching piece versus like a commercials piece. You're teaching someone how to do it and how to learn off it versus like you're just making it just for a pure commercial reason and need, right?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is that, like, why is someone watching it? Are they watching it because they want to learn and see how it was made? Or are they watching it because, hey, I like that IP? That's where, but there's no evidence of proof that's the case.
Oh, so I know, but like,
there's no proof.
Oh, I know. Like a good example is like, I think one of the things I wanted to do was like look at making a Castlevania game. So like, Castlevania or Metroid, or it's like Metroidvania. That's the term, right? And literally type in how to make a Metroidvania game. As you say, it's a little bit dodgy because you're literally using that IP and style, but then also it's a teaching platform and you're not actually doing any stuff off it. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I guess the issue is if someone's ripped stuff from like the game,
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
and then using that in their tutorial, then that's not allowed. Especially if they're sharing it with other people. Obviously, that's not allowed. But
if they're making it in the style of it's fine.
Yeah, if someone's like how to make a game in the style of Metroidvania, that's different. That's fine as long as they're doing their own art, their own stuff. I mean, like I watched people. I don't know if I mentioned this in our first time we started recording the podcast, but I watched people make like Nintendo 64 style games on YouTube, and obviously it's all their own art. But they talk about how they relate it to Zelda, Mario, how certain things were done on like tricks were used on the the N64, which. Obviously, they're building their game in Unreal, so it's slightly different. And obviously, they don't have these limitations, but they try and recreate the limitations. They want it to feel like a Nintendo 64 game. These are all great stuff. And I think all of them have Patrons. At least the main guy definitely does. And he's actually quite well supported on Patreon. So
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. And he's making his own thing. But obviously, he does talk about old games and show footage from old games in how he's explaining certain things.
Yeah, which is fair.
But that's fair use. Yeah, that's fair use. So
exactly,
that's all good. So that's where you got to draw a line. Is it fair use? And if it's not, then go to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay the fine. Lose. Yeah, don't pass go.
Don't pass go. Don't collect £200.
Yeah.
Hope you roll out of jail, or that's it.
But there's that guy who owes Nintendo money every year or every month, his paycheck every year.
Oh, I can't remember why that was. He like hacked something or like botched something.
Well,
together.
unironically, his surname was Bowser, which was quite funny. But he hacked something Nintendo, or he was like giving away ISOs, like not ISOs, the things that you can
the ISOs.
Emulation stuff. Yeah, the ISOs. Yeah, exactly. Like. He was like ripping those and selling those off, I believe, and so he owes like Nintendo a slice of his paycheck every month.
Yeah,
which is that's the despair. Like imagine drawing Tracer and then you owe Blizzard 20% of your paycheck for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
I hope it was worth it.
True, it might have been.
Yeah.
Might have been a very nice Tracer drawing.
It might be. That's true.
I've never seen
a bad Tracer drawing,
Fuck, yeah, it might have been OG Tracer before she got nerfed.
Yeah, true. As all Blizzard characters do.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Alex Straza was on the list as well. Oh well.
Rip.
You win some, you lose some.
You can only dream, right?
With Blizzard, it's mainly losing some, let's be honest, but... Yeah. Most people quit Diablo now as well.
Oh, really?
That's most people are just like saying they can't be bothered because what is the point of Blizzard have messed up so badly. They literally had things going pretty well for themselves, but they just had to be greedy with what they wanted to do this like at the start of the season, increase playtime unnecessarily, get people to buy the season pass unnecessarily. That threw a lot of people off. Is that obviously if you bought one of the more expensive one of the two expensive packs, it comes with the season pass. And I don't remember this exactly when I opened up Diablo for it, but it definitely if you have a controller plugged in, it connects. It basically means you're pre-selecting the unlock button as it opens a screen. And so there's no like confirmation. If you press X or A on that button, it's done. Like you've unlocked the season pass with your free ticket, whatever it might be.
Okay.
And I remember exactly like this, but I wasn't using a controller, but people are saying it was already even the mouse was hovering over it, which I don't remember, but that's supposedly the fact. So a lot of goodwill's been lost, but that's how easy it is to lose your player base, really, isn't it?
Well, do you think holistically that's going to be the end of Diablo?
No, I mean they're already working on
Blizzard.
expansion.
Sorry.
Oh, Blizzard. I mean, is I guess it depends. Like when did Blizzard stop being Blizzard? Really, that's like moreover what it is because, Blizzard is no longer the company it used to be. Like, that's just fact. And so the only way is that people are obviously still going to play the games, and they're always going to find new audiences. That's always the case with all these big companies. You know, they're too I think they are too big to fail. But if you lose, you know, you can lose your kind of like central fan base, and that's the way it goes. So I just to answer your question, Blizzard can be dead to the people who want it to be dead to them. But at the same time, I don't think it's right for people to start shouting, you know, I don't think it's fair for people to say, don't buy this type of game because of this. Okay. I think people should just allow people to live their lives and make their own decisions and not be like, it's irrelevant. So if let's say I really hated Blizzard, which I'm on the way to get there, because what have they done good in the last couple of years? Absolutely nothing. Still waiting for Hardcore Classic Official, and that might bring me back for a bit, but is it going to make me like Blizzard more? Probably not.
Yeah.
We'll see. But they're probably going to cock that up in some way as well from the actual plugin that someone made. So let's be honest, it's probably not going to be as good as it could have been. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for now. You know, if I just said, you know, I was done with Blizzard, and I said to you, you know, don't play any Blizzard games, right? Now, what right do I have to tell you to stop playing Blizzard games? None. Now, can I say to you, look, don't buy, you know, I don't think you should buy the Blizzard game, because look at all the other games they've made recently that are massive flops. How do you know this one's going to be good, right? Now, if I asked you that, that's a fair question. And then you would go, I don't know, I just want to have some fun. And I'll be like, all right, you be you. But then I'm not stopping you from doing it. But I think a lot of people online who are chronically online, they will just like, they will shout and scream, stop having fun to people who want to play it. Now, some people probably do enjoy playing Diablo. You know, I'm still on the border of like, I think I'm not over, I don't really care. Like, I'm just playing it with friends. Like, that's where I'm at with it right now. Yeah. I wouldn't have even bought it in the first place if no one else was playing it. So there's that. In fact, I categorically said I wasn't going to play it for a long time. And then I was just like, well, we need to have fun. Let's do it.
Exactly.
But at the same time, like, if I said to you, no, don't buy Diablo 4, that's kind of like pointless. But like a lot of people, chronically online, they'll say they'll make it their life's work to tell people not to play things that they don't enjoy.
And I think that's always really sad, because like realistically, your version of fun and my version of fun are two different things, right?
What are you saying? I'm not fun?
No, I mean, like, a good example is I like to peruse the indie market and the early access market, to which you scream at me, for the love of God.
No, I told you, I'm trying to. I strongly tell you, stop buying new games every week.
No, it's not every week. It's like once a month.
You can buy whatever you want. Just don't ask me to play it with you.
But that's half the fun of it. If it wasn't a good...
ask it? Well, no. Well, it depends. Like, if it's actually going to be fun, you can always suggest games. But I guess this is the thing, though, isn't it? That a lot of people do, is that they will, they'll like have, you know, they will have their favorite games and dislike some games, and other people will have their own opinion what their favorite games are. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I think it's like, don't stop other people from enjoying games, and don't force other people to enjoy your game. I think that's basically what it comes down to, really.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So people can be disappointed in Blizzard, but I'm not going to tell you not to play it. You can make your own decision. Comes down to reviews, doesn't it? When we were talking about last time, was that would just because you don't agree with someone doesn't mean they're wrong for a few people, for people who believe in that, right? Some people will align with that belief and they'll follow that. Some people might align with your belief and they'll go with that. And, you know, listen to people you enjoy listening to and play games with people you enjoy playing games with. That's the end. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. That's basically where it comes down to.
Well, I was going to say, there's a nice way to kind of tie this up, right? A game isn't good because you just force people to play it. If you do lose them there, because your game marks high, doesn't mean it's always a good game. It just means someone was shouting louder than someone else.
Yes. Yeah. Or you just played other people's games. Yeah. You got lucky with the algorithm.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Play everyone's games, let them have fun, but don't force your game because then you'll get banned. Exactly.
I don't think I've never heard of anyone being banned from Reddit, but yeah, sure. Maybe they should start banning people. Yeah.
We'll make there are no good games Ludum Dare, or there are no good games to make one 24-hour challenge, and then we'll go from there.
I actually think there must be people who cannot submit games to Ludum Dare anymore, or like have had their game removed from Ludum Dare. There's got to be, out of the thousands of games suggested, there's going to be one nutcase. There has to be at least one, if not more.
Yeah.
So I'll take that back. There must be people who are banned from Ludum Dare.
Exactly.
Yeah. Luckily, they were probably swept under the rug fast enough that no one noticed. So.
Agreed. Yeah.
Is that it? Have we got enough?
I think that's it.
Cool.